Hi everyone, Allison here with another layout and process video using 6x6 inch paper pads on a full-size 12x12 inch layout. I have always loved creating designs with lots of detail, and I feel like 6x6 inch papers help make that a little bit easier. I enjoy building large designs made up of small pieces, and since the patterns on these papers are smaller as well, they work perfectly with designs like this. You can cut these smaller pieces and still get a clear picture of that pattern on the paper. Sometimes when you cut really small pieces from larger 12x12 inch papers, it doesn't really work out that well because you don't get much of that pattern in there. For this layout, I used a Honeybee Stamps paper pad and then a glittery sheet from one of my favorite paper pads, the Die Cuts with a View Glitzy Matte Stack. These are the best glitter papers I've ever used, and I am in love with them 100%. Honeybee Stamps has some really great paper pads. They always have such a fun range of patterns, and their color combos are absolutely beautiful. And I don't think I've ever seen a paper pad of theirs that I didn't just love. I've had this one in particular for a while and paired it with some photos a long time ago, so I'm excited to actually create something with it. So to begin, I'm starting with a heart frame cut from my silhouette. I centered the heart cut file so that I would be left with a large heart frame on the 12x12 inch paper. And I'll set that large heart aside to use on a layout sometime in the future. So I'm going to add a stitched border around this heart opening on the outer edge. Now, I could freehand pierce the holes, but I get a little nervous with such a large design like this, and the curved edges especially, and I want to make sure it's as evenly spaced from that opening as possible. So to help with that, I'm sketching a pencil line about 1/8 of an inch from that edge. And it's definitely not perfect, but this does help to have that little preview before you actually start poking holes in the paper, and you can kind of make sure it's as even as you need or want and that everything looks okay. After I've finished sketching that pencil line, now I can pierce the holes. And I do this by placing the paper on a foam board and then use my paper piercing tool to poke holes along the pencil line. I usually try to space mine somewhere between 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. I feel like 1/8 of an inch is a little too close and 1/4 of an inch is a little too far. So I just shoot for somewhere in between there. With all the holes pierced, now I'm going to erase the pencil lines. I always use these white erasers that you can find in any office supply store or any office supply section at places like Walmart or Target. They are so good at getting every detail and without leaving smudges or marks on your paper. Now for the stitching part, I am trying something new. I've been telling myself for a really long time that I want to try a chain link stitch. I've seen it on so many of Paige Evans' layouts, and I'm so in love with the dimension and the texture that it has. It's such a beautiful, thicker stitch, and the detail it adds is so pretty. So I had a little bit of a rough start. I used way too long of a piece of thread, and I should have known better than to do that. And it made tangling a more frequent issue. So I would have to stop and untangle, and then I would start again, and it would tangle again, and that continued for a while. Eventually, though, once that thread was used up a little more, it was a much smoother process. So to sew a chain link stitch, you come up through a hole and then push your needle under the last line of stitching you have and then go back down the hole you came up. And it creates this kind of looped piece. Then you come up the next hole, push your needle under the last line of stitching, and then back down the hole you came up. It did take me a bit to get the hang of it. I think my finger and hands are so used to a backstitch that they kept trying to kind of do their own thing. But eventually it became really easy and I actually really enjoyed it. It definitely takes longer to do, but I was so happy with the end result, and I know it's going to be something that I do again in the future. With the stitching finished on the heart frame, now I can start putting that square background together. To begin, I'm going to find the center of the layout. Anytime I'm creating a design with a pattern, I like to start in the center and work my way out. That way your pattern is the same on all edges and is centered within the frame or shape or whatever you are creating. For this pattern, I am using tons of tilted squares. I'm using 1-inch squares cut from 15 different pattern papers and then one sheet of a coppery gold glitter paper. With this pattern and the pencil lines for the center of the layout, starting is super easy. All you have to do is take that first square and line up each point with the pencil lines. And then from there, you can use that square as your guide for adding the rest, building out and filling in this design. I should also mention that I distress the edge of the squares with my fingernail. Anytime I'm creating designs with lots of pieces that need to be lined up together, I like having that distressed edge to hide any imperfect sizes. I try to be very careful to cut perfect 1-inch squares, and you could have perfect ones using a die cutting machine, but I felt like because I used so many different papers, it was a little faster to just cut them with my trimmer. So odds are I've got some that aren't going to line up perfectly, and I feel like that distressed edge kind of hides that a little. As I go along, I use that heart frame to help me see where I need to add more squares to fill in this whole heart shape. I'm not going to cover the whole sheet of cardstock. I'm only going to cover what you're going to see through that heart frame. In the beginning, I was planning on kind of following an order to the arrangement of the papers, but I gave up on that pretty quickly and just tried my best to have a nice even spread of patterns and colors throughout this heart. Next, I wanted to add some stitched lines along the edges of the squares. So I'm using my favorite OmniGrid ruler to draw those lines about 1/8 of an inch from the edges. So I don't do this on every single edge. I just kind of randomly choose a few and make sure they go over most of the design. It gives kind of a quilted, almost plaid look to the design. Then I pierce the holes with my paper piercer and erase those pencil lines when I'm done. Now, originally I had planned on stitching with white embroidery floss. I thought that was a good neutral to pull from this paper pad, but after I did probably like half the stitching, I laid the heart frame over it to see what I thought, and I was just not vibing with the white. So I pulled it all out and started over with this kind of coral, orangey, pinky red color. Also, usually I would add my photos first and then add stitching. So I'm not stitching in areas that are behind the photos. But really at this point, I had no idea what I wanted to do with the photos and embellishments, so I just stitched it all. With all that stitching finished, my next step was to add the heart frame paper on top. And I used a ton of adhesive to make sure that it really adhered. With stitching adding some dimension to those papers, I wanted to be a little extra with the adhesive to really get a good grip and hold those papers together. Next, I added my photos. I'm using two 3.5 by 2.5 inch photos, and both of them have a small mat. I finally decided to add them to the bottom edge with them tilted and slightly overlapped. Then I pulled out this package of die cut flowers and vines and started arranging a few of the larger flowers along the edge of the heart near the photos. I've also got a few punched hearts that I'm going to add as well. I wanted to create this big cluster in that area. I typically like to lay things out first and make sure I'm happy with the placement, and then I'll start adhering when I'm happy with the look. Whenever I'm building clusters, I like to start with the bigger pieces first and kind of build out from that. The bigger pieces make a great base to start with. Then I'll go in with some medium-sized pieces or some vines or leaves that I can tuck under the larger base pieces. And then I'll finish with some smaller accent pieces. I decided to use foam adhesive for most of the flowers and hearts. I always love using dimension on my layouts, so foam adhesive is my go-to for most embellishments. For the vine, since it is tucked under part of the heart, I only used foam adhesive on the end sections. The hardest part of this, and maybe not the most well thought out, was my title piece. I knew that I wanted it to go below my photos and kind of overlap onto the flower cluster. But because I used foam adhesive on those flowers, that meant I had to use foam adhesive on the part of the blessed word that wasn't on the flowers. So that way it would sit evenly on the layout. Thankfully, I have these tiny little foam adhesive squares that ended up being the perfect size, so it wasn't too terribly difficult. After my title was on the layout, I added a small tab to the top photo, and then I added my journaling block just below the title, kind of tucked under one of the flowers. Then I finished my title with a small phrase sticker. With that embellishment cluster almost complete, I decided that I might want to add some small punched hearts to the squares. I love adding little details, especially with foam adhesive, to patterns like this. I started off with light pink and then started adding in a few more colors. But at some point it started to look a little too busy for me. So eventually I removed some of those colors and decided to go with just the light pink, the light orange, and the darker pink. I also added a few of those punched hearts in with the large flower cluster. And my final touches were to add another phrase sticker near the photos and some small enamel hearts around the large cluster. What's fun about this particular design concept is that you can adapt it to so many different shapes. You could use any shape in place of that heart. A star, a hexagon, a circle, a square, really any shape you can think of. You could even go theme heavy and do a balloon or a party hat or Christmas tree or Easter egg. There are so many possibilities. Then with the slanted squares, you could change up the size and use 2-inch or 3-inch. You could also simplify it by arranging them straight. Or you could use a completely different shape. Hexagons would be really pretty, or you could use strips or layer a bunch of hearts or stars together. There's just so much you can do with a design like this and 6x6-inch paper pads. If you enjoy using 6x6-inch papers, I have a lot of sketches available at Scrapbook Generation that I'll link to down below. There's a large variety of both 1-page and 2-page sketches that all feature designs using these smaller papers. Also, we have a ton of 6x6-inch paper pads at Scrapbook Generation, so I'll link to those as well as the Honeybee Stamps paper pads because I really think you guys would like those. They are so beautiful. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.